of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador. I am Estefania Bravo, and this is From the South. Opposition groups in Nicaragua have called for a 24-hour national strike to take place on Thursday to ask the government of Daniel Ortega to resume the national dialogue and end the police repression. Businessmen, students, and members of the civil society say they hope the strike can contribute to a peaceful solution to the political crisis that has been hitting the country. The opposition has called for all businesses to close on Thursday and workers to join the protest. The ongoing demonstrations have left 138 people dead since mid-April. Our correspondent in Managua, Maria Jose Diaz, has more.
The day began with relative calm here in Managua. However, in Jinotepe, from 3 in the morning, right-wing groups carried out attacks, which left a number of dead and wounded, according to the authorities. They attacked directly the Santiago Regional Hospital, causing fear and terror among families there. On the other hand, the Truck Drivers Association of Nicaragua has released a statement in which they say that dialogue is the only viable solution for Nicaragua to overcome its political crisis. They confirmed that no Nicaraguan or foreign truck driver has been attacked, but some of their vehicles have been damaged in different districts, and that's why they are demanding peace in Nicaragua. On Monday, police said that opposition groups murdered a police sub-inspector and injured a junior officer, who have been removing some of the roadblocks that violent groups set up on roads in the capital and the interior of the country, although many of them remain. The José Benito Escobar Labor Confederation and the Federation of Free Trade Zone Workers have announced that they will keep on working and defending their jobs, because if the roadblocks continue, 50,000 jobs are going to be lost.
Thank you, Maria Jose, for your report. And earlier we spoke to research fellow from University of Michigan, Ben Savio, to learn more about the situation in Nicaragua.
So the situation here on the ground in Nicaragua is that the police continues to be in their barracks. And in the meantime, the opposition has aggressively taken over highways and roads everywhere they can in the country, setting up roadblocks using street pavements. There's big blocks here called adoquines, which are used to make streets. Setting up blocks also with sandbags and using mostly mortars, homemade mortars, and other kinds of homemade weapons, but also there are many, many pistols and weapons of war in some of these roadblocks. And the roadblocks were mostly set up by opposition, like I say, including ex-Contra, but also some of this, what they call the autoconvocados, so the self-convoked opposition. But in many places, the roadblocks are being held by organized crime. So they're serving as bastions for drug use. The people who are on the roadblocks have masks on, have weapons. There was a 6-year-old girl who was raped the day before yesterday at one of these roadblocks. Just today in my town, a young guy passed through with his mother and another older woman who were traveling to Managua. They passed by on foot. When he returned, he had his bag opened, had everything stolen, was held, and then was humiliated. He was stripped naked and painted in blue and white until the Sandinistas headed over to the roadblock and negotiated for his release.
The Colombian Army has captured the brother of El Huacho, the leader of the armed group Oliver Sinisterra Front. The operation took place in the southern Colombian department of Nariño at the border with Ecuador. Huacho's brother will be brought to justice, charged for concert to commit a crime. Juan Gabriel Arizala was a key member of the armed group, allegedly responsible for the kidnapping and murder of 3 journalists of the Ecuadorian newspaper El Comercio.
He was in charge of managing the district militias of La Guayacana, Llorente and Tumaco, and the same way he's the direct contact of this criminal structure, Oliver Sinisterra, with their leader, aka Huacho.
In Mexico, presidential candidates faced off their third and final televised debate, where they traded accusations of corruption. The candidates agreed that fighting corruption should be a priority for the country in order to stimulate the economy. Right-wing candidate Ricardo Anaya proposed a better control of the public budget, while leftist Andrés Manuel López Obrador insisted on the importance of strengthening the country's internal market to make Mexico self-sufficient. The country is holding general elections on July 1st. On that day, Mexicans will also elect members of the Senate and the Chamber of Deputies.
In a few words, for you all to progress, for you to live more securely and to live better, on this day of the election, you will vote for a 6-year term. We need to reflect on our vote. I ask you all for a vote of trust to be your president, to work together as a team with your families and to guarantee the future of your children.
It will not go unpunished. Cases like the missing 43 students, the White House corruption scandal, or Odebrecht. You, Jose Antonio Meade, and your boss, Enrique Peña Nieto, will face justice when I am president of Mexico, because this is the right thing to do.
Fellow Mexicans, the other candidates are all the same. You have seen them today. They're sucking on the blood of their money all the time. Vote for Bronco. Vote for the independent. Go out and do it.
We are 18 days away from a historic election. We're going to make history. We're going to transform the country. There have been 3 transformations in the history of the country, and we're going to undertake the 4th one.
And some Mexico citizens are getting creative using political humor to challenge presidential candidates. Meanwhile, allegations of vote buying is raising eyebrows.
People are showing their creativity on social networks by using words and pictures of the presidential candidates to criticize them. One of the most popular phrases of the second debate went viral as a song. Abrazos, no balazos. Memes, animations, GIFs, and action movies edited with the candidates' faces are all over Twitter and Facebook. Experts in political humor think these expressions show the ingenuity of the people.
People need to laugh and see their opinion, their discomfort, reflected in the mocking against the powerful ones.
While the people work on humor, polls continue to show the lead of the Morena Party's candidate, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who has said he won't rely on that predicted margin. He leads the polls with an advantage of 20 points from his closest contender.
This is a dirty war. They keep buying more and more votes. They are experts in it.
Aggression among the candidates is on the increase. Jose Antonio Meade talked like this about conservative candidate Ricardo Anaya.
It is clear that he is a vulgar thief that stole money when he had power and was busted.
The latest polls show that the distance between the second and third places is now less. But they're still very far from the leading candidate. Candidates will face each other for the last time during a debate, in which the main topics will be education and sustainable development. This is the chance for them to present their project to the whole country.
Congressmen in Argentina are voting on a bill which could legalize abortion today in a session that could go for 20 hours. The historic bill would allow women to terminate a pregnancy in the first 14 weeks. Feminist groups are expected to protest under the banner Not One Less with their trademark green handkerchiefs in support of their abortion rights. 16 lawmakers haven't decided on their vote yet, although 121 have said they will vote against and 118 in favor. The bill emphasizes the danger Argentinian women face in seeking clandestine abortions, particularly poor women. About a third of maternal deaths in the country are related to such procedure, the bill says. Our correspondent Edgardo Esteban from Buenos Aires has more.
Here in Argentina, there are a lot of expectations around this vote that will take place in the Chamber of Deputies on free abortion, as society is divided between those in favor and against. A large sector of society is calling for abortion legalization because safe procedures are needed by the most vulnerable sectors. Many women in Argentina do not have the possibility to have the procedure done in a safe environment. On average, more than 400,000 abortions are performed in the country every year. Feminist movements will demonstrate outside of the National Congress where the vote is taking place. These demonstrations will be accompanied by an intense debate in the Chamber of Deputies that is likely to last for many hours. The result of the vote will be known in the early hours of Thursday. For now, it is impossible to predict the result, as the number of deputies against and in favor of the law could be even. So we are looking with much anticipation and attention on what is happening tomorrow in the Chamber of Deputies, in the country's National Congress.
We'll take a short break now, but join us again after this look at what our multimedia colleagues are reporting. Welcome back. Two people injured in Guatemala's Fuego volcano eruption were transferred to Mexico to receive medical care. Our correspondent Mario Rosales has the details on this report.
Hola, ¿qué tal, compañeros? Un saludo hasta...
Greetings from Guatemala. The disaster zone is still unreachable. The CONRED, the National Coordinator for Disaster Reduction, has banned the access to the area. A week has passed and the Fuego volcano is continuing with intense activity, releasing ash, stones, rocks, volcanic material with high temperature, and because of that, it has been impossible to get to the major disaster area here in Escuintla. In this context, there are two patients with serious burns that have been attended here in the capital city of Guatemala, and they have been moved to a specialized burn assistance hospital in Mexico. The Mexican Aerial Force has sent a plane this morning. A police corpse has also been found after a river dragged him after an intense storm and volcanic material that slided from the volcano.
In Bolivia, the ongoing conflict in the public university of El Alto for a larger budget has entered its third week as students and officials try to reach a possible solution.
The marches and street blockades continue out of the public University of El Alto in the city of La Paz. The university rejected an offer of an additional $10 million from the government. They are asking for $100 million.
In requesting an additional 700 million bolivianos, the university wants to raise their proposal from the established 160 to approximately 840 million bolivianos. But in working sessions, there hasn't been any demonstrated solution which would allow for that amount of resources to be distributed.
Social organizations that have encouraged dialogue to negotiate a solution expressed concerns about the lack of an agreement.
The government is offering 17 million not only for this year, but will be guaranteeing an annual 17 million. And the UPEA, unfortunately, hasn't accepted this. For us, this refusal is indicative of dark intentions, with politicians behind them.
The government expressed frustration with the supposed lack of seriousness of the involved players in a negotiation that has already been going on for 5 days.
I don't know if there will be another meeting. We are evaluating that. I think that yesterday, the UPEA Negotiation Commission provided a dismal image to people, not only declaring a hunger strike if their demands are not met, but without another proposal, we are offering them an economic plan, and all they are doing is rejecting it outright.
The budget conflict at the Public University of El Alto is now going on its 4th week of cancelled classes and protests.
In Brazil, Senator and President of the Workers' Party, Gleisi Hoffmann, will go to trial next Tuesday, accused of alleged passive corruption and money laundering. The Supreme Court will also judge Hoffmann's husband and former minister, Paulo Bernardo Silva, together with businessman Ernesto Kugler, all involved in oil company Petrobras corruption case. On a public statement, the president of the Workers' Party defended her innocence and accused the court of political prosecution against her and her party. Justice will have one day the chance to restore the truth, she said. In Chile, the mission sent by Pope Francis announced they will provide legal and technical assistance to the Chilean clergy so they adequately respond to cases of child sexual abuse. In a press conference, the head of the mission, Archbishop Charles Chicluna, apologized again for the scandal and said the church now wants to provide its members with the adequate tools to face these cases. Chicluna will also take witness statements from victims of sexual abuse within the church. Since 2000, about 80 Catholic priests have been reported to authorities in Chile for alleged sexual abuse.
The Pope understands that this is an extremely serious situation. Therefore, the urgent measures that have been taken respond to that. Restore justice in the ecclesiastic community as soon as possible.
Bolivian President Evo Morales is in Russia on the first leg of an international trip, which will also take him to China. Morales will hold bilateral meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday and Thursday. The meeting aims at deepening the bilateral relationship. There are also agreements which are expected to be signed. The Bolivian Minister of Foreign Affairs says over the weekend Morales will meet with the Bolivian legal team in The Hague to discuss progress of the border dispute with Chile at the ICJ. He is expected to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping on June 19th and 20th in Beijing. The Barbados opposition has responded to Monday's budget presentation. Bishop Joseph Arthur Lee said the government was imposing too many taxes and ran the risk of following the previous administration into a trap that could contract the economy and the former government. The Democratic Labour Party also held a press conference to address the Mia Mali administration's financial plan for the country. The party said the IMF's latest report differed very little from their 2017 report and that the government was essentially shifting from one tax to another.
At the end of the day, fulfilling some manifesto and election promises, but providing and delivering to Barbados a slew of new taxes, and of course the criticism that we have, not only from us, but certainly from the public and those commentators, is that you're being given with one hand and taken away with another.
To deal with the pressing issue of rebuilding infrastructure in the Caribbean, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States and the Caribbean Development Bank are organizing a 3-day event called Building Standards Forum and Exhibition in Gros Islet St. Lucia. The forum will feature building products, technologies, and services that enhance disaster resilience and preparedness. The exhibition comes as the 2018 hurricane season has begun while the region is still recovering from last year's Hurricane Maria and Irma. Paleontologists at the Mexican Desert Museum have discovered remains of a new dinosaur species that inhabited the coast of northwest Coahuila State 85 million years ago, the oldest dinosaur to have inhabited the region. After more than 8 years of research, studies of the fossil evidence revealed that new species measured 3.5 meters in length and weighed more than a half ton. Paleontologists believe there are still many more local dinosaurs yet to be uncovered in Coahuila. We'll take a short break now, but join us again after this look at what our multimedia colleagues are reporting. Welcome back. An Italian ship carrying over 900 migrants from African countries has been allowed to dock in the port of Catania, Sicily. The migrants were rescued by the Italian Coast Guards of the coast of Libya. 2 of them died before they could reach the port. The crisis comes after a diplomatic standoff left more than 600 migrants stranded in the Mediterranean Sea. They are currently en route to Spain after they were refused to dock on Italian and Maltese ports last week. After a historic meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, the state media of North Korea hailed the summit a success. The CNT-TV also claimed the meeting as a radical switchover to the hostile relations with the U.S. By the end of the meeting on Tuesday, Kim invited Trump to Pyongyang, an invitation Trump not only accepted, but reciprocated with a White House visit invitation. Many North Koreans have said to be pleased with the diplomatic relationships.
Bringing dramatic change in the relationship between the DPRK and the U.S., which took the world by surprise, is a result of efforts by the Workers' Party of Korea and the DPRK government, which have been willing to safeguard the peace and stability of the Korean Peninsula and the world.
Here's a look at today's stories making headlines from around the world.
The Bulgarian Prime Minister Boyko Borisov has expressed an interest in joint unmanned aerial vehicle production with Israel. In Jerusalem, Borisov said that he hoped all peace agreements are signed, but made no secret of his intention to partner with Israel to procure high-tech weapons. Israel has so far cooperated with India and Russia on unmanned aerial vehicles. Victims of the former Democratic Republic of Congo's Vice President Jean-Pierre Bemba have decreed his acquittal, with one man calling the ruling tragic. Bemba was convicted in 2016 of war of crimes and crimes against humanity when a militia he commanded committed mass murder and rape in Central African Republic. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison, but last Friday that conviction was overturned.
My daughter was raped as she tried to flee with me, but the Bemba's militia took her and raped her. I was horrified by it. I could go on about other crimes that were committed against my neighbors.
Greece and Macedonia have reached a deal to resolve a long-standing dispute over the former Yugoslav republic's name, allowing Macedonia to apply for European Union membership, which had previously been blocked due to Greece's objection to the use of the name Macedonia. Under the deal, Macedonia will be called the Republic of Northern Macedonia.
With the World Cup in Russia set to begin, the host or hosts of the 2026 World Cup have been announced. FIFA revealed a joint bid by the United States, Canada, and Mexico have won the right to host the world's biggest sporting event. They beat out Morocco by a wide margin, 134 votes to 65 for the win.
To host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Thank you.
And one day ahead of the beginning of the Russia World Cup, the Spanish national team replaced coach Julen Lopetegui with former footballer and national team sport manager Fernando Hierro. Spain makes this change 2 days before their opening match against Portugal. The country's federation said it made this decision after Lopetegui failed to tell them he had agreed to join Real Madrid after the tournament, which raised a controversy among Spanish fans as some believed the move could shake the national team. And we've come to the end of this news brief. These and many other stories, you can find them on our website at telesurtv.net/English. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for Telesur English. I am Stefania Bravo. Thank you for watching.